Whereas Khamzat, if we were to break him down, he's a pure grappler, and to be honest, he does have power on the feet. So I think I think for Khamzat with a win on the feet, and if it's to get it to the floor, because I feel like in the first 2 rounds, Dricus is going to be really powerful. So if the sub doesn't come, Khamzat's got to lay off the pedal a little bit and start being smart, like on the feet and stuff like that, like trying to like sort of, you know, like. What's the word? Stalk him. So like, because he's got a lot of power, Khamzat, you know what I mean? I felt Dricus' power on the feet. Dricus, for me, doesn't really have power, but he's a phenom, and he's a specimen. Dricus, he's so strong. So I just see first rounds Khamzat, but I feel like the way Arman Tsarukyan was talking the other day, that they've stopped Khamzat from overtraining. I feel like he's definitely going to be good to go full pedal for the full 5 rounds. So I just don't see a way where Khamzat doesn't beat him. But obviously, I'm not going to overlook Dricus. Dricus is this guy who he knows how to win. He finds ways to win. He's got grit, and you can tell he's definitely, you know, he trains really hard, and he's obviously got a great team that's strategic. And that's what I mean. It's like people can. I've given him shit. I've said like he's the best shittest fighter ever, but his team are very strategic. Dricus he's got a hell of a chance, but you know me, I'm team Khamzat, and I've trained him, and I don't see past 3 rounds of Khamzat. I reckon he can knock him out on the feet as well. I really do. He's got a solid left hand. I've been on the receiving end a few times, but his grappling and the people he's training with, and he's got Arman. As I trained with Arman in Thailand, and Arman, for me, I'm a fan of Arman. Like he's a phenomenal athlete himself. So I'm third round Khamzat, mate.
Can Dricus stop him? Can he defend the takedowns? Now, a lot of people can't. A lot of people can't stop the submissions, but Gilbert Burns could, and Kamaru Usman could. Now, when you look at Gilbert Burns, one of the best jiu-jitsu games in all the UFC. So you think about that and you think, well, Dricus doesn't have that kind of jiu-jitsu. But then you look at Kamaru Usman, and he was able to go to a decision, and yeah, okay, granted, ridiculous wrestling credentials, but naturally a welterweight, and he also took it on short notice. Now, Dricus has got a little bit of Gilbert, and he's got a little bit of Kamaru Usman, and he's a lot bigger than both of them. So I think he will be able to weather the storm in the first round, and I think he'll probably end up losing the second round as well. There is a world, of course, where Khamzat goes out there, slams him, takes him down, chokes him out, and makes it look easy. And if he does that, my God, fair play. But I think that Dricus weathers the storm in the first round. The storm gets a little bit lighter, like just here. The rain has just calmed down. We've still got a little bit of spitting. That's going to be Khamzat in the third round. There'll still be a threat. There'll still be some danger, right? I will get wet if I go outside, but I ain't going to get drenched, okay? And that's not a bad analogy, to be fair. And then I think Dricus Du Plessis starts to take over, has success in the third round, starts to land, starts to grow in confidence. We haven't seen Khamzat Chimaev pushed to the limit over 5 rounds. We've seen Dricus in the 5th round and the 4th round. We've seen what he's like when he gets tired, and we know that he's still hunting the finish, just like he did against Israel Adesanya. So the man's always trying to finish the fight, even in the later rounds. I think that Khamzat, when he gets a little bit tired, he starts to coast a little bit, okay? And that's not an insult, because being tired makes a coward out of a lot of people. I'm not saying that Khamzat's a coward, far from it, but when the gas tank is gone, when you are tired, you don't want to be there. You do not want to be in the octagon, in a ring. You don't want to be running. You want to sit down. You want a drink of water. You want to take some deep breaths. And the reality is that for all the work that Khamzat Chimaev is going to do, that he has done, for the amount that he has pushed himself, you can't be a sprinter and a marathon runner at the same time. Khamzat Chimaev is probably the best first round fighter that the sport's ever seen. Look at the way that he handled and ragdolled Kamaru Usman, whose wrestling credentials are through the roof, by the way, okay? Khamzat Chimaev is ridiculous. He is a one-off, and that's why he's still undefeated. But can he keep going over 5 rounds? I don't think he can. I think he's going to push Dricus. I think it's going to be an entertaining fight. I think Dricus is going to leave that with some new scars. He's going to be bloodied and bruised, and it's going to be a tough, absolute dogfight, back and forth, and then he's going to start to fade, and Dricus takes over. And Dricus Du Plessis will still be the middleweight champion of the world, and I think wouldn't surprise me if he got a late stoppage in the 4th or 5th round. So there's the main event prediction.
DDP, Dricus Du Plessis, taking on Khamzat Chimaev. Let's start with Khamzat. Okay, Khamzat in a lot of people's eyes, is the boogeyman of that division, because we know what Khamzat's going to do. He's going to come in there, he's going to get the edge of the void, and he's going to shoot a fucking double leg way the fuck out there, like Jack is trying to save Rose from drowning in the fucking Titanic. It's a tiger jumping on a gazelle. That's what he does. If you look at his fight with Kamaru Usman, if you look at his fight against Rob Whittaker, I mean, the list just goes on. It's always a double leg. If I'm wrong, I'll be fucking shocked. But I'm guaranteed he's gonna go out there and he's gonna shoot a double leg, right? Now, this is where the fight can be dictated right here. The first clash, and depending on how that clash happens, will dictate how the fight's gonna play out. When he fought Rob Whittaker, when he fought Kevin Holland, those guys, when they got taken down, he was able to get to position and finish the fight. But when you look when he fought Kamaru Usman, when he fought Gilbert Burns, that first clash didn't go the way that he thought it would go. And then you saw Khamzat kind of slow down. He wasn't the same athlete he was the first time they clashed. Now, there's not a whole lot of data on Khamzat because he boxes and he wrestles. That's it. There's no clinch. There's no kicks. The grappling exchanges that he's done with Arman Tsarukyan, high level. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So I feel like for him, it's going to come down to that very first clash. How does DDP respond to that? Now let's go to DDP. DDP has a very funky, unorthodox style, the way he fights. He comes from a kickboxing background, but he's not your traditional kickboxer. He's so unathletic, but he is athletic. He even said it himself. He was like, I have a weird way of doing things, but it works for me. With that being said, if DDP is able to weather that first clash and weather the storm against Khamzat, then I think we're going to see the King of Africa claim another victim. We've seen him fight Sean Strickland, someone who's also unorthodox, who comes forward. He's able to sit back, piece him up with the kicks, the high kicks, and even the takedown. We saw him fight a guy like Izzy Adesanya, who's a master on the feet, get his back and submit him. With all that being said, who do I have winning between DDP taking on Khamzat Chimaev? I'm going to have to go with DDP just because I feel DDP is spot the best of the division. I mean, just when you think this guy is able to fucking throw a right hand, fall, slip on a banana peel, and for some reason, fucking the guy falls over. It just doesn't make sense how he's able to get things done. And he has a style where it forces people to do things that shouldn't have worked, essentially. So for that, I'm going to go with DDP.
Dricus was getting taken down by Darren Till, all those guys, but I guess the way he's been training is pretty crazy. I mean, he's got a big neck, he's got big traps. Khamzat is taking him down in that first round 110%. If Khamzat gets his hands attached underneath Dricus' nose, it's probably going to be over. He's got to survive. He's got to survive. You remember, Usman was on his way to beating Khamzat if he had 2 more rounds. He's been in 5-round wars before. If I had to put money on it, God, I want Dricus to win. I want Dricus to win. Training for Khamzat 5 rounds would be such a fucking nightmare. You'd have to get fresh guys on you every 30 seconds. 30 seconds, full out, shooting on you against the wall. Crawling, getting up, a fresh guy, boom, shooting on you against the wall. It would be a fucking nightmare. But Dricus is going to have to empty the tank, keep matching his pace that first round.
My official prediction for DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev, and still, Dricus Du Plessis is going to defeat Khamzat Chimaev. Now, one thing about this fight is it is not likely to go the distance. It's most likely to be a TKO, where one guy is going to get so exhausted that he stays down. To start with. Secondly, the fight is going to be very hard up until that moment. But third and most importantly, it's not going to be a very competitive match. It's just a matter of which guy whips the other guy. Chimaev is going to come out very quickly and he's going to test the waters of a takedown. Now, whether he throws some punches and goes to it or he just comes across the cage and keeps that very momentum going and goes in on those legs. His best chances to get a takedown are when he's got the most energy, which is right then at the beginning, and when the opponent is the driest, sweating the least, which again is right when that contest starts. But he's either going to get it or he's not. And that's where the problem comes. If he gets that takedown, he will change Dricus in that moment. If Dricus is to get up to his feet or even survive, Dricus will now be different, which is going to make him easier to take down a second and a third and a fourth time from Dricus. Now, if Dricus can defend those takedowns, and if Dricus can do one of two things, defend Chimaev's takedowns or convince Chimaev that he can defend his takedowns, and therefore so Chimaev just doesn't try. That's where all of a sudden you find yourself in the stand-up battle. We haven't had grapplers, even as a plan B, get their skills high enough to go with the top-level strikers. And that's where the picking apart comes from. And that's where eventually falling down and collapsing, that's where eventual exhaustion comes from. I believe that this fight is going to be ended by exhaustion. It will be known as a TKO. I don't think these guys are going to trade him back and forth. I think they're going to put all of their energy out. I think ultimately when it does end, it's going to be because one guy drained his battery, used everything that he brought, and simply can't go on anymore. And if you were asking me right now who that's going to be, I favor Dricus Du Plessis.
In the last 5 fights, Khamzat hasn't taken longer than 13 seconds to shoot a takedown.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Du Plessis can stop his takedown. Is he going to be good enough to get back to his feet? Is he strong enough to kind of deal with that early onslaught? I believe he is. I think that we're going to see Khamzat have to do something we haven't seen him do, and that's fight through adversity deep into a fight. Because what are the questions always? In the Kamaru fight, Kamaru started coming on strong in the third round. Gilbert Burns started coming on strong at the end of the second, going into the third. Everyone always says if there's 2 more rounds, he loses both those fights. I think we're going to find out, does he have the capability to fight deep into the 4th and the 5th and continue to stay ahead? If Dricus can't stop him, or at least push him deep into a fight, I don't know what we do with him after that. I really don't. He's unstoppable up to this point, and I've said for a long time, I think that Du Plessis is probably the guy that's going to be able to push him. He matches his physicality. You hear Du Plessis' opponents talk about how hard he hits, how strong he is, and early in his UFC career, we were talking about how bad his conditioning was, that he always looked exhausted, and he said it was this nose thing. He gets the surgery. Turns out he was right. He's got incredible cardio. He looks like the most tired human on planet Earth in the first round, but it never affects how he fights. He pushes 5 hard rounds every single time he goes out there. So if that guy can't slow down Khamzat, I don't know who can.